Wesley, an important game for you against the tournament leader Ali Reza, also for the standings in the GCT. You seemed surprised when he played G6. Was that the case?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I thought he only needed the draw, obviously, in the tournament. So I thought G6 was... I just didn't expect G6 at all. I didn't prepare. Like, also, he'd been playing, I think, in his last pretty much 30 games or something in Blitz online, also online. He'd been playing E6.
E6.
Yeah, so expecting
looking for some Nimzo.
Yes. Nimzo, Queen's Gambit, Decline, or Catalan. But yeah, I was hoping he'd play the King's Indian.
Of course.
Like, I usually play G3 here on F3, but I decided to see if he was going to play the King's Indian, then at least I could get a fight, because he played it many times against me online. And then he played D5 quickly, and I just didn't expect it. And I didn't have very good results against the Grunfeld in history. So I decided to play a move I played 2 years ago, Bishop G5. So I've been playing this against Maxim.
Whenever you're surprised like that, what happens in the mind of a super grandmaster when you have so many options, right, against the Grunfeld? Do you try to pick one that you haven't played in a while to surprise back your opponent? What is the mindset? What is the train of thought?
If you get surprised, you try, at least me personally, I try to go to a position that I know very well, that I have some experience in the past, or have looked at recently, just any ideas that I've looked at recently, but mostly to get a position where I have some familiarity and hopefully more experience than him. Mm-hmm. Because he also played this against me in Norway, was it last year? And then I played the Rook B1 Grunfeld there.
Okay.
But I didn't really get much, and I haven't looked at it for a while. So yeah, I decided to go for this because I kind of like the arising positions after Bishop G5. But I mean, if you want to play for a win against the Grunfeld, maybe you have to play CD5, E4, and go for the critical line. Mm-hmm. I seems a bit surprised. I played this against Maxim 2 years ago, also online. I've been playing it.
What can you tell us about this position? What does white, what does black try to achieve in this type of structures? Give us a master class,
probably.
If you might.
You know it probably much better than I do. But the thing is, first of all, Grischuk also played this against me 6 years ago. It's a very complex line. Like, black could take first. Like, castle, knight takes d5, c5, bishop c7, and then queen d7. Then there are some theory here with bishop e5 and then f6. And somehow the computer is giving black enough compensation, although it looks like white is doing well. Black has the bishop pair. So I'm not sure why black plays castle. Like, they could just take and castle, for example, and then c5. Like, I'm not sure why they're giving white this extra option of taking with the knight, which is very concrete. Like, white also has some ideas here, like queen c2 or e3 or bishop e5, which I played against Grischuk.
Yes.
A long time ago.
But you decided to go for
I decided to play e3 because wasn't sure if Ali Reza was very familiar with those concrete lines. Like, black is fine according to the computer. But here I could take with the knight again. But the main line, knight c3 and queen d5. And black is only very slightly worse here. But
did he surprise you with this move, bishop f5?
No, Maxim played against me 2 years ago. Like, I'm just not sure why black wants to go for this when you can just take on d5. Like, white has many options here. I think queen b3 is very concrete. Yeah, or bishop e2. I think bishop d3 is also a move, right?
I'm sure there's a lot of ways.
I'm crazy. But bishop e5 is very quiet. Like, goes for the endgame directly. And I like the arising positions. And if black makes a mistake or two, then could get very pleasant. Like, I guess I'm just trying to close this long diagonal. And it's a move. There are many other more concrete options here. Just don't remember it too well. It's a bishop d3. Anyway, bishop e5, and then this is all fourth.
Exchanges came about, and we were trying to kind of figure out this endgame, whether you have anything or not. How did you feel about this endgame? Do you feel like you're...
Yeah, I thought white is supposed to be slightly better here. because Maxim played against me CD4, right? Yeah, I think Maxim played CD4, then ED4. And then here white plays King D2 with the idea of Bishop D3. And
Try to shield the king behind the pawns, right?
Yeah.
Push the pawns in the center.
If I could get King D2 and then move the rook, like rook HE1, Bishop D3, white will have very pleasant position.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously it's not much, but black makes a couple accuracies, then the king is very well placed in the center.
Perhaps that's what he wanted to avoid also with knight d7.
Yeah, I thought CD4 was what the computer was giving, but after knight d7, couldn't remember that much. Knight d2. Thought bishop b5 was normal when he could take on d4.
Once again, we get this type of positions after he takes d4, perhaps.
Yeah, I thought white is supposed to be slightly better here, but couldn't remember what the best way. I mean, this is a weak engine, but
it is.
Recommending knight d2, so I'm not sure.
I wouldn't trust it too much.
Yeah, I thought it's supposed to be slightly better for white, but he spent a long time, like 45 minutes, after trading the queens.
Yes.
So they calculated all the way to the end, and there's not really much I could do.
Absolutely. Now, Wesley, we weren't able to talk after your game against Jan. Obviously, another bad game for Jan. What's happening? We saw you watching that game as well. What was your perspective from the playing hall? On there.
Well, I think Jan is still recovering from losing on time against me in Croatia. Right?
I haven't asked him that, but that could be the case.
we haven't talked since, but it just...
And we see Jan right now, unfortunately, suffering after that. Very unfortunate. Miss G5, knight takes C4. That's a typical dragon tactic.
Yeah, for sure, but he was blitzing out his move.
He was.
Like
yes.
he played G5 in 30 seconds. And I didn't see knight E4 right away, but then when I saw it, just completely lost. I mean, when you have 2 hours for the entire game, and then he's making moves in half a minute. And when we got to that point, I think he barely spent 5 minutes on the clock. So, I'm not sure exactly what's bothering him. But also against me, he was blitzing out his moves.
Exactly. It feels like already 2 accidents in this tournament.
Like he was in a rush to leave. But the thing is, Ian is a very streaky player. So when he plays well, he can play really, really well. But also when he doesn't feel well, he can tumble, which is what's happening now. But that game was very weird. Like, I don't understand it at all one bit. Because...
You mean your game against
Ian's
him or
game
Ian's today? Yes.
Okay, my game against him, he could draw it in 10 different ways, but he kept blitzing out, and then he blitzed king f6. Fortunately for... But today I couldn't understand the game, because like why did white play queen d3 in the opening? I never seen.
I think that was part of his preparation.
Yeah, it's just maybe it was, but I just don't understand the move. It looks so weird too. Also, like the line Fabi played queen a5.
Now I have to ask you also about the Grandmaster. Obviously, we know you're fighting for that 3rd position.
Yeah.
Last one for the moment. But we've seen you in this tournament take some risks against Anish, against Pragnananda with that very sharp Joko Piano. Is that the strategy? Take more risks in this tournament?
Well, I'm just hoping to play well and try to qualify for next year, regardless of how I make it.
Yeah, we see that. It's a big battle between you, MVL, maybe even Prague.
And Gukesh too.
And Gukesh as well.
Yep, yes. I think Ian is done after the 2 losses.
Yes.
But, it's still very tough. And obviously we all would like to make it, but there are only very limited spots. And the thing is, like, I had one bad game in Romania
against Alireza.
Yeah, and that pretty much made it so hard too, because I got only 2.5 points from that event. Just one loss, just one bad game, and then, like, if I didn't have that one bad game, and let's say I scored 50% in Romania, like, I would have no problems qualifying for next year. But just one bad game and made the year so
tricky,
so difficult.
Tricky, absolutely tricky. Still remaining 3 games. We'll let you go get your rest, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, Wesley. For sure. Very happy.
Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Cristian. Thank you